All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Women of .NET panel. So my name is Lebogang Madise, joining you at the DevReach Progress Conference. And with me, I've got some amazing panelists, whom I'm going to give an opportunity for them to introduce themselves in like 30 seconds. I'll start with you, Alyssa.
That was not 30 seconds. Okay.
No, you get 30
Oh, I get 30 seconds. I thought I was getting a 30-second countdown.
No.
Alyssa Nigel here. I am an Angular GDE, and I just recently got into .NET and met these wonderful ladies, and I'm super pumped to be here.
Awesome.
Hello, my name is Layla. I am a Microsoft MVP, GitHub star, the founder of the Women of .NET initiative, and I am a developer advocate at VMware. I almost forgot where I work then. That was a little bit worrying. It's been a long day.
Hi everyone, I'm Suiki. I work at Microsoft. I am part of the .NET Maui team-ish. I actually work with our customer engagement team.
Hi everyone, I'm Rachel. I'm a software engineer on the .NET Maui team, also at Microsoft.
And I'm Maddie. I am a product manager on the .NET Maui team, and I get to work with all these wonderful people.
Awesome. Thank you. So to kick off the panel, we've got representation from community leads to software engineers to cloud advocates. And a lot of people ask themselves, not just females, by the way, as to how can they kick off their careers in the tech industry. So I'm going to start first with both you, Alyssa, and Layla, because you've mentioned that you are a GDE and you are an MVP / GitHub star. So I wanted to know, for people out there watching this, looking to get into these community leadership roles, do you have any advice for them?
You want me to go? There you go. Okay. So I didn't try to get into leadership roles. I just tried to do stuff in the community. I started with my local JavaScript meetup. That was all that was in my town. We had a JavaScript meetup. It just started, and I went along. I was the only woman there amongst 30 guys, but it was fine. They were really, really nice. So that was good. And I thought, oh, okay, well, JavaScript's okay if you have to. I'd much rather a .NET meetup, because that's what I had been learning, and I wanted to. I wasn't a developer at this point. I was a developer, but I wasn't a professional developer. I was running my Pilates studio, and I wanted to transition into tech. And then someone started a .NET group, so I got heavily involved into that, ended up leading that .NET group, and that's how I got into speaking. I then got approached to go into developer relations from that. So I guess it was just trying to be in the community and be a part of it, and I wasn't actively seeking to lead it, and I think that's my approach, lucking into it, maybe, I don't know.
I wanted to call out, because Layla and I do this talk called Bridging the Gap, and during the creation of the talk, Layla and I both, this is actually our first time meeting in person, and but virtually we've been friends for a while now, and we learned a lot of differences about ourselves, not only as developers, but just as people in the community, and how the differences between the JavaScript and the .NET community. And so I wanted to kind of call out a difference that I found out about us recently, was degree-wise and intention of entering the field. So because not just starting out in leadership, but starting out in tech in general, I feel like there is this misconception that you have to get a degree. And I did go that route because that's how I learned best, and I knew I needed to be held accountable. So I got a web dev and design degree, but I know that, I didn't know if you want to speak from your side of it, because it's totally possible to do it the other way as well. And so
yeah. I went to university. I lost my finance, so had to drop out. So I represent all those dropouts. I don't have a degree. I've tried. I'm obviously not cut out to get a degree. I went through loads of different things. I worked in shops. I rode horses professionally. I trained as a personal trainer. I became a Pilates instructor, and I was doing that, so very different from coding. And then I just heard a podcast about transitioning to tech. I'd been working in my own time on code, and I just knuckled down, tried to learn, and then got my first job. So I think where there's a will, there's a way, and there's so much out there to enable you to get into coding careers now. It's not like a medical degree or a law degree. You do not have to have that professional training. You can go and teach yourself and get into the right environment and learn and go.
Yeah.
And I wanted to like transition. Oh, you want to go next
Yeah.
one? Oh, okay, cool.
We've been talking too much.
So just building on what Leila just shared right now around different paths or into getting into tech, I actually have a similar story. So I'm an engineering dropout, but what happened was before I dropped out, I actually got a job because where I'm from, had I gone outside of tech completely, I would have been lost in the system. So it was back exactly 10 years ago when Windows Phone was a thing, and I had a couple of apps in the store. So I approached Microsoft. I'm like, hey, I can't afford to stay on anymore in my degree program. My family can't, afford it. I've literally just worked to pay off last year's fees, and I'm not even in my final year. So if I'm gonna do this again, I'm gonna circle back into debt. And then they told me, hey, we are actually looking at starting up what's now known as the App Factory, where they were recruiting graduates at the time to build out the South Africa Windows store. And since I already had the skills, they were like, perfect, we'll hire you. So I got my first 1-year contract as a developer, and I was tasked to building out templates to enable people to build Windows Phone apps and Windows Universal apps. And that saved my life and career because through that 1-year internship, I got to be mentored by software developers in industry. I got to learn and understand stuff I was struggling with in uni, like design patterns. Like I saw you in your earlier talk, you implemented the singleton pattern. It was only when I was in that 1-year program that all the factory patterns and decorators actually made sense because I was now using them and not studying them out of a Gang of Four textbook. So I think we're very fortunate in the sense that you can grow your career in tech by doing, and I even saw on Twitter yesterday, someone shared a meme about how do you really become great at what you do, and someone said it takes practice, and they kept arguing that, saying, oh, but you're so lucky, look at you work at so and so organization, and then the person was like, it takes practice, and I cannot stress that enough. Bottom to chair is really the only way you could make it out in this industry. And I wanted for Mandy and Suiki, for them to also share their experiences, because they mentioned yesterday in some of their talks that they started out as interns and now they're actually part of product teams at Microsoft. So maybe you want to share your early in career stories?
This mic is dead again, by the way. It apparently does not like any of the batteries we've given it. So I know, I'm pretty loud. Yeah, so I did the traditional engineering degree route. I had a similar situation where if I had switched out of engineering, they would have stopped giving me money to go to school. So I had to finish it, even though I did not like it. And probably in my third year or so, I realized I could not sit and code for 40 hours a day. But I really, really wanted to be in tech. And that was like what I had told myself, and I had switched around all the different engineerings. I did electrical, and I looked at mechanical for like 2 seconds, and it was too much math, and I was like, I want to work on computers, but I don't think I can sit and write code. And I did an internship, and I was like, cool, this is cool. I can't do this every day. I think I just have to become a business major and go into debt and go sell things. I don't really know what else I would do. It was become an engineer or go sell things. Those were the career options I thought existed on this earth. So I did an internship with Microsoft in the Garage program, which is where you worked, and it's defunct now, unfortunately. They got rid of it. But you worked with a team of other interns who were software engineers on a project. And I was kind of one of the engineers on the team, and I was like the engineer in the group project that everyone was like, yeah, she's really nice, but she doesn't really contribute anything of value. But like, she's got some cool ideas. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to get a return offer, but that's fine. And my manager at the time had suggested that I started looking into like tech adjacent careers, which I never even realized was a thing. And one of the ones was product management, right? So there's advocacy, right? So you don't actually, most advocates don't write a ton of code that ships in the product, but you do use the product every day. And there's product management where you make decisions based on, what the developers in the community want to make the product better, to make people more productive, blah, blah, blah. So I totally fell in love with it. And I tried to sort of change my engineering degree to have as much product management experience in it as possible. So I took like a UX class, and I realized I sucked at that, but at least I took the class. Tried to work a lot with startups who were like just getting off the ground and trying to understand what their customers wanted and why it's an important role. And I was lucky enough that while I was an intern at Microsoft, the very cool company Xamarin got acquired. And I marched over there when I came back for a return internship, and I was like, so, you guys hiring? And they were like, I don't think so. And then I think someone took pity on me, maybe Chris, maybe Joseph, and was like, all right, we'll interview you. And they hired me. So I was very lucky. I knew I wanted to stay in developer tooling at this point because my internship projects had been on, drawing UIs and converting them to XAML and cool things like that. And I felt like I was still engineering-y enough. Like I wasn't fully product. I wasn't working on like a pet food automator dispenser thing. I don't know. There are a lot of really cool product managers that do consumer things, but I knew I wanted to be in code in some way so I could still kind of hold on to my roots. So again, very lucky, like totally fell into this path over and over again, but because of saying yes to things and trying out new things, I think is kind of my tip there. So just see where it takes you.
Yeah. Suki?
I think probably after Rachel, I'm the most traditional in our studying patterns, I guess. I studied computer science in school. I interned in Microsoft, actually in Dubai. And when I came to Boston to study again, that's when the nice folks Chris, sitting right there, was actually the one who interviewed me and told me, you're too smart for my team, go work somewhere else. And sent me to a different team in Xamarin, not out of Xamarin. So it's, I think, a mix of both. Chase your passion. I always liked computers, so I was not sad about, I didn't have to struggle through my degree, touch wood. I'm like Alyssa said, I need to be held accountable to study, so I need the structure to study. I'm that kind of a person, so the degree was the path. It would make sense for me. But my internship was amazing. Not here, it's very non-traditional internship stuff in Dubai, but it was a lot of tech and coding involved, so it was really fun. I'm going to let Rachel also answer because we have very similar paths, I think. So.
Hello. So I think I'm earliest in career here, probably. I graduated 2 years ago. This is my first full-time job at Microsoft. Woo. Yay. So like Swiki, I studied computer science in college. And I think for me, it was more figuring out what in this huge tech field I was actually interested in that took more figuring out. And I feel like in that way I kind of got lucky. I got lucky towards the end of my college education with an opportunity relating to accessibility. So I just fell in love with that. And then when I finally joined the .NET MAUI team and I saw that there was this need for more accessibility work to be done, I was like, I definitely want to do this. I think we all have found what we love doing, and there was definitely some luck on that has come as part of that journey. I feel like if you go into it with this is what I want to do, even then, a lot of times you'll end up coming out with something totally different. So yeah.
Yeah. So Alyssa, you wanted to share something before I grab? Okay. So I want to actually give an opportunity to some people who are in the room with us. So we've got Luz, who's a developer advocate at MongoDB and also an MVP. And then we also have Punima, who's an MVP as well as a freelance developer. But I'm going to first give over to Luz to share a little bit about her journey.
Cool. Well, hi everyone. I thought I'd stand up. Mine's a weird one. It's a bit backwards. So I did follow the traditional path eventually of doing a software engineering degree at university. But leading up to that, I was a bit of a lost cause. Lost cause, lost puppy, one of the two. So growing up, I was very, very lonely. I didn't have any friends. And so I kind of jumped around a bit on what education I wanted to do. And sort of got to my teenage years and my mental health was awful and everything. And I was in a really bad place. But then I'd moved around. I tried to do mainstream education at school, but it just didn't work for me. Like having someone say, oh, you've got to go and do science and you've got to go and do, I don't know, maths. Maths sucks. I just didn't get on with it. And so I'd moved around a few times. I'd done like further education, like when you're 17, 18 in the UK, you can go on and do slightly different types of courses. But I ended up still doing the same ones. It's just in a different place. But it just didn't work for me. So I ended up trying to do full-time work for a while. Didn't work. I realized this was back in 2008, 2009. So back then in the UK, you still kind of needed a qualification to get certain types of jobs. It's not like it is now. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm just sat here doing data entry in an office. Like, okay, I'm just getting paid to type numbers in every day. It's not difficult. But that difficult part was actually what made it really boring and unsatisfying. And so I realized that I needed a degree or a qualification of some description. So then I went back to do further education again. But that's when I discovered programming. So I always say this, I said C# saved my life, because I went from having no friends to being in a class where I learnt programming 101, and it was like, whoa, I know command prompt. I'm a little nerd that played with my computers at home when I was a kid. Like, wow, I can do console.writeLine and it puts it there. That's awesome. And so someone in my class saw that I really liked it and basically just took me under his wing, which I think most people understand. And he started to teach me C#, and then we'd hang out, and play video games. And then he brought me into a social circle, and I've had friends ever since. So literally C# saved my life. So yes, I did end up doing software engineering, but it started a little bit backwards.
Thank you, Lucy. So Chris, we haven't met, but because two people called out to you, and Lucy over here mentioned an ally who put her under her wing, I'd like for you to come up. The reason for this is because of allies like you, people like myself, Luz, Mandy, we have careers in tech today. So I would like for you to contribute to this Women in Tech panel by telling allies out there what it is that they can do to bring in more women into the tech space and make sure that they don't get lost, they actually stay in the industry.
Thank you. I think the key thing is to always be encouraging and always try and think of the positive things about what people are doing. And I think people come from lots of different kind of ways to get into this. And so there's no need to be mean. You're always going to be nice to people, and people will find their way in terms of where they want to. Tech isn't for everyone. But if people are showing an interest, you got to make sure you keep on trying to find it. Maybe it's C#, maybe it's JavaScript. It can be any of those. Like, programming is for everyone. And so if you already have that kind of interest and knowledge there, then you want to help people to pursue that. So I think that's probably the key thing. And I think it's for people who have that interest is to use that interest for good rather than have flame wars about what's better than this. Actually encourage people, it's okay that they're different, you're kind of doing the same thing. And I think that's the key part here. And I think the working on what you want to be working on is also important as well. And I think at Microsoft, I work at Microsoft, and so we try and encourage people, even if you come in to Microsoft working on something, you might not be working on the thing that you really wanted to work on originally. And so we try and make it easy for people to move around Microsoft and to keep people interested in what they're doing, because I think that produces their best work. So
Thank you.
No problem.
Am I the only person that likes maths here?
Oh no, maths are fun. That sounds weird. Math is fun.
I feel like
liked math up until Calc 3, and then I said, you know what? Not for me.
okay, because that was what the degree I had to drop out was straight up maths, and I was like, do I need to hide under a table?
No, you're safe. You're safe.
I had to ask.
Yeah.
Be unapologetically you.
Yeah. So I'd also like to call out the Women of .NET community. So if you're watching this at home or you are in the room, especially females who are in the tech industry, please enroll yourself there so that you can be part of conferences like this, either as a speaker or as a workshop conductor or as an attendee. But we'd like to increase representation all over the world, and many people are saying they're not finding women in this industry. So the Women of the .NET community is actually there to bridge that gap. And all the women who have their profiles there also include tags like, oh, I'm a PM, or I'm an advocate and I enjoy speaking virtually or in person, or I enjoy writing blogs. So it's very self-descriptive. Their handles for Twitter and LinkedIn are also there. Feel free to get in touch with them. And it's open to everyone, so not just developers. So if you are a woman in tech, you've got a home, so please do join. And I don't know if any of you have any parting words you'd like to share as part of the panel.
Well, first of all, thank you, Layla, for running the whole Woman of .NET everything in the site.
Yeah, this one.
I will just say that the Women of .NET is for anybody who identifies as a woman. We welcome anyone who feels that they identify as a woman. That's really important to us. We can't be where we are without allies. So we are strong welcomers of allies. We have spaces on our Discord server to mentor, to be mentored by the women in the community, to share career advice, to get questions answered. We have a live stream which all three of you have been on, and along with us. So we do live streams, and we want to do more. So come and tell us what you would like us to do, what would help you in your career. And it's only been around, I started it last July when I left the .NET Foundation, and I wanted to do something more constructive towards just getting better representation in the community. So come in, help us, be a part of it. So thank you for that. And I'll pass this on for more chit chat. That's my passing words there.
All right, I'll just go quickly. Don't be afraid of anybody. Everyone's really, really nice. I remember, especially as I started to grow my presence in .NET, I was like, all of these people are famous and really cool, and they're gonna be like, who is she? And everyone's been great. I have not had a single person be rude to me. I have had plenty of people respond to my Twitter DMs months later, which I am now the person who does that. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't see this. So that's cool. That was a nice glow up to go from the DMer to the DME. But yeah, everyone's super friendly. I mean, .NET is an amazing community. Not just the women, but everybody that I've met in it has been really, really constructive and supportive. And, yeah. So feel free to reach out to people. It doesn't happen overnight. You're not just going to become a .NET developer and know everybody. But take it a step at a time. And if you see someone keeps retweeting someone, that's cool. Or there's someone who always pops up in a live stream, keep that name in your mind, and then they might pop up again, and you'll be more familiar next time. But yeah.
Awesome.
End it with a yeah,
Great
but
job.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah! That's our slogan, actually. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
Rachel, any parting words?
Lots of
You don't have something nice?
yeah.
You'd think. I was going to say, don't forget to drink water. It's very important to hydrate. Yes, good job. Yep, hydro homies. Woo. And that's how we are so awesome, because we all hydrate. Please remember that.
Yeah, it is. Water.
Yeah, we always remember to drink water. On a serious note, same thing. Just stick with your passion. Find friends who like stuff you like. I think I've always been inspired just meeting more folks who do what I do, and makes me feel excited about what I do. So, yeah.
Thank you, Siki.
La 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 la.
Alyssa?
I got this.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of like what Siki was saying about find your friends. Like, I think it's really important to find your people, but also find people who are not your people. Like, learn from everyone around you, and I think that way we all grow. That way this whole representation thing gets better too. So yeah, have fun and keep chasing your passions.
Thank you, Rachel. Alyssa?
I think you're the earliest in your career, but I think I'm the newest to the community. And I will say that it has been, just like Maddie said, very welcoming. And I think one of the things that drew me to .NET, because I've always been on the JavaScript side, was just the massive amount of things to learn. Not only people, but just technologies. And to me, I'm like I won't start a book unless there's at least 5 in the series, right? And so for me, learning, I was like, I should join this community. There's quite the series of things to learn. So it's been amazing. Everyone that I've met along the way has just been nothing but kind to jump on and teach me things and show me things. So I just want to thank you to everyone who's been a part of pushing this committee forward and lending a hand. So, yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I don't know if you have any questions, but that's it from us.
Thank you.